Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're living in Saudi Arabia and you've ever stared down a mountain of paperwork for a visa to the US, the UK, Canada, or the Schengen zone, and still felt that pit in your stomach about getting rejected, you are absolutely in the right place. It feels rigged, right? Or just impossibly opaque. But today, we're taking all that confusing, stress-inducing red tape and turning it into a completely clear, totally actionable strategy that puts you firmly in the driver's seat. We've got a packed but super straightforward agenda today. We're going to cover the travel history myth, why do embassies care, the 4 levels of travel, your 3-year travel plan, and finally, crucial mistakes to avoid. Let's just jump right in. All right, starting with Section 1, the travel history myth and debunking this idea of visa magic. So, does simply traveling to a few random countries guarantee a visa approval? You've probably seen this horrible advice floating around internet forums, right? Or heard it from shady travel agents, claiming that if you just collect a certain number of random passport stamps, Western embassies are basically legally obligated to let you in. Well, scratch that because it is 100% false. There is literally no magic number of trips that acts as an automatic green light for a visa officer. It is way more nuanced than just treating your passport like a vacation scrapbook. Okay, so what does it actually mean? At its core, travel history is a verifiable record of your previous international trips that actively demonstrates your compliance with immigration rules. Basically, did you respect the visa conditions and did you go home on time? It's not about how many exotic beaches you've chilled on. To an immigration officer, this is a highly measurable track record of your reliability. Did you follow the host country's laws? Did you accidentally or purposely work when you weren't supposed to? And most critically, did you leave when you promised you would? It's physical proof that you're a responsible global citizen. Moving on to Section 2. Why do embassies care? Solving the visa puzzle. Look, at the end of the day, every single visa officer is trying to figure out the answer to one giant question. Is this person going to return home? Put yourself in their shoes for a second. Their entire job is risk assessment. So think about a lower-risk applicant, someone who has traveled internationally and actually returned before their visa expired, multiple times. They have a proven track record. The officer can breathe easy knowing this person keeps their word. But then you have an unknown risk applicant, someone who has never traveled. It doesn't mean they're a bad person, but they're a complete wild card. And to an officer whose job is protecting borders, a wild card inherently carries way more perceived risk, simply because there's zero past behavior to judge them on. But hey, here is a massive realization for you. You can absolutely get a major visa without prior travel history. Why? Because travel history is just one piece of a much larger puzzle. Embassies are weighing a whole bunch of factors to assess your stability. They want to see stable employment. Do you have a job you'd be crazy to abandon? They check for a good salary and solid savings. They evaluate your family ties back home and the genuinely real purpose of your visit. First-time travelers get approved to the US and UK every single year because these other foundational pieces are rock solid. A robust travel history just acts as a multiplier. It doesn't replace the basics. All right, Section 3, the 4 levels of travel. This is your visa blueprint. If you're a resident in Saudi Arabia, understanding this progression is an absolute game changer. Think of it like leveling up in a video game. Level 1 starts right in your backyard. The GCC countries, like the UAE, Bahrain, Oman, Qatar, and Kuwait. These are super fast, cheap, and perfect for short trips. Then, you level up to Level 2, visa-free or e-visa countries. Places like Georgia, Malaysia, Thailand, or Indonesia. You literally just book a ticket and go. Next is Level 3, achievable visas. This takes a little more paperwork. Think Japan, South Korea, Singapore. Nailing Level 3 is huge because it proves you can successfully navigate a formal visa process. And finally, the boss level, Level 4, high scrutiny visas. This is your Schengen zone, the UK, Canada, and the USA. The whole strategy is climbing these levels sequentially, proving a reliability at each stage before asking for access to the next one. Now, a question I hear all the time. Does booking expensive, luxury travel actually help your application? Does blowing your savings on 5-star resorts act like a VIP fast pass to impress the embassy? The answer to that is a hard no. Embassies care about consistency, financial credibility, and honesty. They honestly do not care about luxury hotels. Just having a lot of cash doesn't guarantee you won't overstay your welcome. Officers want to see a logical pattern of behavior that matches your actual regular income. A simple, consistent weekend in Bahrain staying at a totally normal budget hotel is just as effective as a month in a Maldivian overwater villa.
Consistency over time and strict compliance with the rules matters exponentially more than how many stars your resort had.
Let's transition to Section 4, your 3-year travel plan. Let's put all this theory into practice. Let's ground this in the real world. You absolutely do not need to be a millionaire to pull this off. Imagine a highly typical profile: a resident in Saudi Arabia with a valid Iqama, a steady job with 6 months of clean bank statements, and a perfectly normal monthly income of around 7 to 10,000 SAR. What does a realistic, achievable roadmap look like for you?
With that moderate income, you could easily execute this 3-year timeline. Remember, this is a marathon, not a sprint. Year 1, you stick strictly to level 1. Take a couple of affordable, quick weekend trips to Bahrain, Dubai, or Oman. Year 2, you budget a bit and hit those slightly bigger level 2 visa-free spots like Georgia or Malaysia. By the time you hit year 3, you've built a verifiable, multi-year track record of doing exactly what you said you would do. Now, you are in an incredibly strong position to apply for those level 4 high-scrutiny visas. You didn't rush it, and you've clearly demonstrated long-term stability.
And on every single one of those trips over those 3 years, you just repeat this beautifully simple 4-step loop. Step 1, enter legally. Step 2, actually enjoy your holiday, spend some money in the local economy. Step 3, and I cannot overstate how absolutely vital this is: leave before your visa expires. The literal second you leave on time, you are proving your reliability to the immigration algorithm and the human officer reading your file. And finally, Step 4, return home and go back to work. Keep running that loop and you cement your status as an unshakable, low-risk traveler. We've mapped out the journey beautifully, but now for Section 5, crucial mistakes to avoid and how to protect your profile. I want to rapid fire through these fatal errors because these mistakes will instantly and permanently derail your progress. First, believing that a single weekend in Dubai guarantees you a US visa. It just doesn't. Next, the temptation of submitting fake hotel bookings or using fake bank or employment docs. Or the absolute worst offense, buying fake travel history from some shady broker online. And of course, overstaying or working illegally anywhere. Listen, Western embassies talk to each other. They share data extensively. A lie to one could get you slapped with an automatic, multi-year ban from several countries all at once. These mistakes don't just get you rejected today, they actively destroy your credibility forever. But what if you've already got a blemish on your record? A super common anxiety for people trying to start fresh is, can previous visa refusals affect my newly built travel history? Well, yes, refusals definitely matter. But here is the golden rule: absolute honesty. Visa refusals are technically separate from travel history, but they are almost always asked about on new applications. Always answer honestly, never ever try to obscure a past rejection hoping they just won't notice. Trust me, they will notice. Trying to cover it up is a guaranteed way to completely undermine all that compliant, good travel history you just spent 3 years carefully building. Just own it and be completely truthful. And to back up that honest track record, you need tangible evidence. You are essentially building a dossier of trust. So there are documents you should never ever throw away. Keep your old passports with the visa stickers, your entry and exit stamps, boarding passes, flight tickets, and your hotel and tour bookings. These are the physical receipts of your good behavior. In a system where applications can easily be doubted, these documents are your verifiable proof that you did exactly what you promised you would do. Guard them like absolute gold. As we wrap up this explainer, here's the big takeaway. Travel history isn't some magic wand, but are you ready to start building your visa profile with consistency and absolute honesty? It's not a secret cheat code for sure, but when you combine a well-documented travel history with a steady job, some savings, and genuine intent, it becomes a total game changer. It takes patience and a little budgeting, but your global mobility is entirely in your hands. So, looking at the blueprint we discussed today, where are you going to get your very first stamp?